Jesus is walking along when he notices Matthew sitting at his tax table. He's not looking for Jesus, he's doing his job. Collecting, counting, staying in the role that works, even if it costs him more than he admits. The table gives him structure and security, and it also keeps people at a distance. Everyone knows who he is. Everyone knows what he represents. Jesus stops anyway. He doesn't lecture, he doesn't explain. He just looks at Matthew and says, "Follow me," and Matthew gets up. That's it. No recorded hesitation, no debate about consequences. He leaves the table behind. The money, the position, the arrangement that has kept him insulated, and he goes. Later, Jesus is sitting at Matthew's table in his home, eating, laughing, surrounded by people who also know what it means to live on the margins and make peace with being misunderstood. The room feels full, not just with people, but with tension. Others are watching. They don't understand why Jesus would choose this place or these people. They question him. They question, what kind of teacher does this? What kind of holiness eats here? Jesus doesn't defend himself. He talks about mercy, about healing, about how God doesn't stand back waiting for people to get it right before he comes close. And in that moment, something shifts. The table that once represented distance becomes a place of welcome. The home becomes a space for belonging, and a life that had learned how to stay seated begins to move. Reflection. The invitation comes while Matthew is still seated. The workday isn't over. The table is still useful. Nothing has forced his hand, and yet, when Jesus speaks, something interrupts the quiet agreement Matthew has made with this life. Tables like this exist everywhere. They look like routines that pay the bills, arrangements that make sense, systems that offer stability even if they come with distance or compromise. They aren't wrong, they're just familiar. Matthew doesn't leave because the table fails him. He leaves because something about this invitation compels him to follow. Later, when Jesus sits at Matthew's table in his home, the shift becomes visible. The space that once existed for private life now opens outward. The man who had learned to keep people at arm's length hosts a room full of voices, questions, and presence. What was once guarded becomes shared. Trust often grows this way. Not through pressure, not through certainty, but through the quiet courage to loosen your hold on what has kept you safe and respond to a voice that sees you fully.